Everybody's Gone to the Rapture starts off with a huge mystery that immediately pulled me in with the biblical, astrological, and scientific references that seem majorly taken from the TV show Lost.
The answers are in the light.
1, 7, 2, 5.
Iteration 1, 7.
That voice, that's weird. What is that?
There are numbers being chanted over and over again via radios from a person who believes herself to be the last person alive.
I'm alone now.
I'm the only one left.
There is insinuation that whatever caused everyone to disappear was brought about by experiments with electricity and magnetism. And the electrical anomaly, which I will call Wispy, is very much like a non-hostile version of the smoke monster. At least, non-hostile to you. There is even an epidemic of nosebleeds, then eventually death, spread throughout town.
And then Georgie and Ben said they had headaches.
Hey, how's your headache?
And then they started bleeding.
I just got a nosebleed. Let's just not freak out the others, okay?
There's even sound effects that sound strikingly similar to Lost.
Thank you, Lord! Jesus, get off the front! Get off the front! It's in the front!
Those initial references are really a major hook to what kept me pressing on, and I thought that with the beautiful graphics and music and seemingly deep mystery, I thought there was no way I was gonna dislike this game. I thought wrong.
This is a special announcement by the Emergency Measures Committee. Due to exceptional circumstances, radio and television in this area has been brought under the control of the EMC as per the Crisis Preparedness and Action Bill of 1982.
This is a visual and auditory game looking to give you an experience through use of atmosphere and story. Some may argue it's not even a game so much as an experience. Some has even said it feels more like a walking simulator and/or that you really need to be in the right mindset for it. It starts you off on a mystery, and that mystery is deconstructed through the many cutscenes you encounter time and time again. I am not a fan of how the story is told through picking up on bits and pieces of conversation and gluing it into a cohesive and linear subpar story whole. By doing this, they purposely convolute a story that is in essence very uncomplicated. Wispy, the light you encounter in the game, acts as a guide and gives you glimpses into moments of time before your arrival. So most of the story is told to you verbally through several different characters you cannot really see as you slowly progress through the game. What it feels like is eavesdropping on complete strangers and following them for hours. At first, what the characters are talking about and the people they refer to may not make any sense. But as any good stalker knows, as time goes on, a picture is slowly painted.
Yes, I suppose so.
What you see in the environment isn't that interesting and just corroborates what you hear and see in these cutscenes, and the mystery cannot be deconstructed through visually inspecting your environments alone. There's really not much to see in these environments except for some pretty landscapes. The game heavily relies on dialogue to tell a story, whereas other games in the genre try to tell a story through letters, objects, the environment, and so on, while keeping much ambiguity. This game outright tells you the story and thinks it's being ambiguous through the messy way it's told, but it's not. Some people like this kind of storytelling, and I'm not saying that it's bad, but in my opinion, it's not good. I would have preferred a game that took so much influence from Lost to have taken the same influence in the writing, but many people would sincerely disagree with me on that one. While the game starts off really focused on the overall mystery, it randomly decides you don't give a hoot about that anymore and takes a huge turn, instead telling the story of character drama through characters you have not established any rapport or emotional attachment to. So when the game starts with this overall mystery and builds up to love triangles and forbidden love,
I do love him, Father. I love them both.
He's married.
it certainly disappoints and detracts when all you want to know is the mystery. While the mystery is still kinda deconstructed, you still have to listen to the drama, which gets more and more frequent until the end. On the same subject, the music in the game is beautiful. and tries really hard to get you to feel. And this is a gimmick that I'm sure works for a lot of people, but you won't crack me. I have a hard posterior. Using music to move the audience in a subpar story is something I see dramas and even horror movies do time and time again. Now I have to say the game's graphics are amazing, obviously, and are an excellent tool for this medium of storytelling. It makes the game much more immersive in that respect. I love the effect of a cloud passing and obfuscating the sun, just for a brief moment, giving me enough time to reflect and say a little prayer. And I like how different time periods are rapidly cycled through to match the time period for the cutscenes. You know, that's all I'm gonna be doing in the Phantom Pain until Big Boss grows old and dies. Time paradox. But as a wise man once said,
it's really good looking, but you can only look at the Mona Lisa for so long until you're like, alright, yep.
Exactly. And that holds true with this game, as the game's graphics and music, and in some people's opinions, the story, are the only elements holding the game together. As some people may know, Chinese Room are the developers of Dear Esther, which is a biblical-based spin-off story that plays a lot like Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, only there is narration over the course of the game. Needless to say, the story in that too did not impress me. But it's still better than this game's. The Wikipedia on the game states, during the development of Dear Esther, the team wanted to introduce interactive elements. It became clear to the team that it simply wasn't going to work. Thus, the concept of Everybody's Gone to the Rapture was born. It also says, under gameplay, Everybody's Gone to the Rapture differs from its spiritual predecessor by allowing more interaction, such as manipulating objects and opening and closing doors. While playing, the player is able to influence the events that take place. Ha! I laugh in the face of that Wikipedia article. Why? 1, because you can't influence the events that happen in the game at all. Well, that's an outright lie. And 2, because the environments actually lack interactivity. That is my chief complaint about this game. Some people may argue that the lack of interactivity is purposeful in order to focus on the story. But that's the selling point of the game! Sure, you can flick light switches on and off, open and close doors, wow! For interactivity, but that's about it. I wasn't a huge fan of Gone Home, a similar game in this genre. But even that let you pick up anything in the environment and look closely at it. It even had a zoom button, which this game is in dire need of. No zoom, no room on my shelf for this game in this genre, although it's digital only. You could at least throw in some lesbians. Gone Home had those. I am severely disappointed.
Well, there's this girl. I think she's a senior. She's usually dressed kind of punk.
It still kills me that I'm promised to be able to interact with things in the environment, but I really can't. And no, turning on a radio or answering a phone for more story does not count. Not only that, but the game severely tests your patience with its mandatory slow walking speed, and sometimes when R2 wants to work, the faster walking speed. And sometimes during cutscenes, an even slower walking speed. Nothing gets me worse than a game that controls your walking speed. Game developers think they are making the game more immersive by controlling the speed of your movement, when in fact they are doing the very opposite and reminding me that, yeah, this is a video game. Thank you for reminding me, game. I barely have control over this game as it is, and limiting my control further to make sure I stick around to catch the whole story is frustrating for me. I'm more than likely to want to hear the story if they don't adjust my movement speed and tell me what to do. But this trend is becoming more and more popular with mainstream games nowadays, so this is an overall gripe to all games that do this. And I can't think of a game that does it right. Sometimes, in the game The Last of Us, it's actually faster to crawl than to deal with their forced walking. And that just shouldn't be! And on top of all that, there are the trophies that really, I mean really grasp at straws, realizing just how mundane the game is. The trophies mostly seem to be unlocked by getting really lost, or doing things no one will want to ever do, or doing nothing at all.
Nothing at all. Nothing at all.
Yes, that's right. There are trophies for doing
nothing at all.
These trophies really suck, and it'd be a complete bore to plat the game. I ain't even gonna try, and naysayers to this review are gonna do it anyway. Really? So you're gonna go grab a pen and paper and know every single number you see on trains, and then you're gonna go try the door on every motorhome you come in contact with. You have no problem waiting for a phone call that you don't even know when or if it will come, and then go to the pub and wait for a pint that you know won't come. There's nobody nobody there. There are even trophies for finding all the bird books, all the graffiti, and using every microwave in the game. They are grasping at straws here. Why not just one trophy that says you did it? And you can honestly say you enjoy that. No one does! And I don't even get to deal with the trophies anyway. Like, it's just some digital, they're not real. Oh, but they are, as Kevin Butler says.
Gaming is having a ridiculously huge TV in a tiny one-room apartment. Staying up till 3 a.m. to earn a trophy that isn't real. But is.
If you enjoy trophies, then you'd probably enjoy Supermarket Sweep too. Remember that age-old classic game show? You get like a checklist of things to do and find, and like there's more things to do and find, and then at the end, you get your reward. It's usually money. That's better than any trophy. Okay, back on topic. I had no expectations for this game, and I got it because I just thought it'd be a fun game to stream. After doing that, I can definitely say this game is probably better off played alone. You'll find it to be much more immersive if it's just you, yourself, and the game. Immediately after the stream, I replayed it with better result, and for this review. But that still won't keep you from getting lost, and the slow movement speed doesn't help you get anywhere quickly. Time and time again, you'll be asking yourself, should I risk walking all the way out to the field?
When you have to ask yourself, if you have to ask yourself that question in any game, things are not going
something
well.
wrong with that game, I agree.
Should I walk across this field?
Do I want to waste the time walking out to that field?
That is a bad question to have to ask yourself. This is a gamble. There may be nothing across this field.
It is a gamble. I could walk all the way across that field and find nothing.
I'm glad we didn't walk down through that field.
Yeah, I know.
I'm very glad we did.
But we're running through other fields. Exploration is crucial in a game like this, so why not just let me run already? Are the developers afraid I'll find the exit too quickly and beat the game in less than 10 minutes? Because it'd be possible if I could run. Another complaint I have is about Wispy. I mean, you can control an entity, but the most important part of a game like this is some sense of direction, and sometimes Wispy decides to take a day off. I had a bizarre moment when Wispy actually broke, stunting my progress. This gave me no other choice but to reboot the game. But this was after 30 minutes of pointless exploration. The game is roughly 4 to 5 hours depending on how much you get lost. But if you heed my words when I say this is a very linear game and there is no sense in entering previously explored areas, you will keep on the right track. And to top things off, the game's mystery ends up not being as mystical or as deep as you may have thought, which results in a fizzle of a climax because the slow burn gradual build does not deliver in the end. Besides, I guess most of the deep story soon after the phone booth call. But this game is not for everyone, and you need to be in the right mindset. But in the end, it's just a subpar character drama as people around town are dying rapidly, leaving only a select few. There is some paranormal in this story that doesn't end up being that amazing in the end. And as for the biblical references, well, there's not too many either. The game starts off telling you the character Kate is the last person alive, so right at the beginning you already know and even hope to encounter her. But you don't. After 4 hours of slow build, there is no payoff other than the emotional character drama, which I don't find to be a payoff or very emotional at all. So if you do plan on playing this, go into it solo as to not muddle the experience, which you may or may not like. If you may be into these type of games, have the extra cash, roughly 4 hours to waste, and want to support some indie devs, go for it. I understand why some people might like this game, but it just ain't my cup of homebrewed sweet tea on rocks. And don't complain to me if you don't like it. Complain to Metacritic and all the other major review sites and all the people who gave it near perfect scores. What is going on? What is wrong with this world? Anyway, thanks for watching. Check out my last review on Bloodborne. Hey, check out my last Bloodborne lore video on Adela and Ariana. And please subscribe as there's more to come, so stay tuned. You know, it is pretty artistic though, the game.